Hi everybody, it's me again. It's been a while since I uploaded a video, but to be very perfectly honest with everybody, I've been fairly lonely and fairly lost for the past couple of weeks. Been sleeping a lot. I think that's something that a lot of people must be experiencing at this moment in time. This has stretched on a lot longer than we had expected it to be, but it's a moment to reflect. And I've been reflecting a lot about the nature of how we go about doing our work. I've written a piece about that, which I just wanted to share a few of its main thoughts. First of all, you should understand that at the end of the day, you're involved in something that creates a value, a product, or a service, but you're not interacting directly with your customers in the most instances if you're working for a company. And most of that value is being taken up by the company itself. So, my first instinct is to advise everybody that this is a time to get up your entrepreneurial spirit and try to reach your customers directly. Now, how this can be done is really looking at yourself long and hard. Now, what I've done in the piece is divide skills into three core categories. So, you have core skills, which everybody has, which are the skills of writing, reading, being able to Google things, being able to add and count, and you being able to use the basic Microsoft tools or OS X tools like Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and so on. Those are core skills. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to rate yourself along a chart 1 to 10 perhaps on how good you are with the core skills. Now, a lot of us can write, but are we really good with the grammar, the syntax, the inflection points, the colloquialisms, or the language that we're trying to express ourselves in? And regardless of the field that you're in, now is a great time to improve upon that. If you can only write and read in one language, you are not doing yourselves any favors. So perhaps now is also a time to pick up another language. Some of us are lucky in the sense that we grow up bilingual, people from Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, etc., and China, and so on and so forth. We have to adapt to the English language. I was especially lucky. I've spoken English along with my mother tongue, which is Urdu, pretty much since the day I was born, and so I consider myself practically to be a native English speaker. I also picked up French along the way. I can speak basic Spanish. I can speak Punjabi, which is growing to be one of the world's leading languages. And these days, I'm trying to pick up German if I can on the side. Honestly speaking, what helps me the most when it comes to languages is watching movies and shows. So I'm watching this series called Dark. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's a phenomenal sci-fi come thriller series on Netflix, and I'm trying to watch it with subtitles in its original language, which is German. Now, the second skills are creation skills. So anything artsy whatsoever. If whether you're a stylist, a painter, a drawer, a potter, a writer, an architect, anybody that creates something from a palette of sorts. So even cooking, cuisine, things like that. Those are creator skills. Anything artsy, anything related to pop culture, and anything related to a product creation paradigm would be your creation skills. So you have your core skills, you have your creation skills. Next come data skills, DSers, I call them. So CSers are the creator skills. DSers are data skills. Data skills are usually managed by more than a one person environment, but usually you have a lot of single people. These are analysts, financial hacks, lawyers, anybody that gives you specific expertise based on a broad body of knowledge. Now, you have to distinguish these from technical skills, which are the most fundamental and paramount. If you look around the world today, the world economy, the most successful people are the ones that have technical skills. Technical skills people, TSers as I like to call them, tend to have CS skills as well as DS skills pretty much wrapped around their fingers as well. So technical skills are really at the top of the skills hierarchy. You will be wanting to enhance each and every area of those three core skills if you want to be a generalist and accumulate sufficient amount of wealth before everything goes topsy-turvy, which I personally predict will happen by the year 2028. We're looking at a scenario whereby the markets will not function as they function as today. The world will be fairly an isolationist place, and the environment and the ecological conditions might be prohibitive. You want to accumulate as much wealth as is possible by the year 2028. You're going to want to focus on expanding your core skills to the max that you possibly can. Being able to use Word, Excel, and PowerPoint is just not going to be enough. You're going to want to know how networking works, how cloud computing works. You're going to want to take on some extra stuff like HTML, CSS, so you can have content based communication with your clients. And I'm going to get to that point right now. You are now looking at a content economy. Before, I would say maybe 5, 6 years ago, we were pretty much in the middle of a technology economy. We were all technology workers or knowledge workers, which is to say that we were part of processing, disseminating, selling, and consuming knowledge based products. That is no longer the case. Knowledge is now the new factory. Knowledge workers, IT professionals are a core part of what makes the economy and what makes industries operate. But the key innovative side and the growth side is going to be data driven. Let's look at the example of some of the most prominent and most relevant companies right now, especially during COVID-19. Who did we turn to? We turned to Facebook, we turned to Netflix, we turned to Amazon, we turned to companies that operate on the basis of the trillions and trillions and trillions of megabytes of data that they have on their consumers, by virtue of which they are able to provide you with content. And what we're consuming for the most part across the day is content. Whether you're listening to this video or whether you're watching other people, you're really looking at a content based economy. The pipeline for the content economy is going to be data, which is what makes Netflix have such an edge over everybody else. No one has access to the data that Netflix gathers, and the data that Netflix gathers is right now worth gold. More than gold, actually. It knows exactly what you like, what your preferences are, at what point in a series you taper off, at what point in a series you tend to be more attentive. They are able to configure their programming down to a T to match those with customers. There was a time before, I remember 2, 3 years ago, when Netflix was not the only place where a lot of the programs were boring, a lot of the series were hits and misses. A lot of the DC stuff, a lot of the Marvel stuff, they really messed up on. I don't see that happening anymore with Netflix. Why? Because they're watching you. They are looking at all the metadata. They look at it second by second, episode by episode. They know exactly how many viewers are tuned in at what time and in what numbers. They know exactly when the viewers tend to sort of taper off and lose interest, when they stop watching a series. They know when a particular series is generating buzz because they're watching social media about. They know which episodes are creating an increased number of viewerships, which episodes are decreasing the number of people who are watching it. So they're able to tinker and tailor their programming accordingly, and that is a fundamentally important aspect of the content economy. So be content creators. In order to be content creators, you have to understand technology really, really well. So like I said, having skills like Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, and basic operating systems is simply not enough. Being able to Google things basically is just not enough. You're going to want to be able to do meta searches, get on board with SEO, and you're going to want to have an online presence and create your own digital content repository, create your own message. And that is what I want to really come to. It is funny that Karl Marx is the one who said that a worker or a laborer should get the maximum of any value that he adds to a product or service. Now that applies fundamentally to the core ethics of capitalism. It is that all of us need to be enterprisers in the sense that you need to have access to your clients and your customers directly and not via the theory of the firm, as they say. And in order to do that, you're going to want to have, first of all, regardless of what you do, especially if you're a CSer, you're going to want to have an app that connects you to your customers, that provides you information about your customers, and which allows you to gain access to all the knowledge that you need to carry out your creation skills. Similarly, for all the other professions as well, the same applies. Now, that is really the core and crux of what I wanted to talk about. I think now is the time that we all realize that we have to bypass the middleman, quote unquote, and we have to interact with each other on a trade platform that trades us skills so that we can stand up and demand a fair wage against the supply and demand of those skills. And a lot of those skills are going to be based on technology, going to be based on understanding how clouds work, on cloud solutions, and a lot of us are going to want to get into creating content of different kinds. In my example, I try to be an artist, so I'm creating some sort of visual content. I'm trying to put my art on T-shirts. That's also in a way a messaging-based clothing content. If I have messages I want to share or propagate, I will be doing it via my T-shirts. So those T-shirts will have more which is more than just an aesthetical then visual value. They will have content based on it. And I'm trying to come to grips with all the intricacies of social media as well as web development, because like I said, we're looking at a content economy and we're going to be content creators. With that said, I hope that you will enjoy the article that I'm going to be posting alongside this video. And stay safe, stay home, but make a lot of digital noise. Take it easy, guys.